You recently accused Senator Mark Kelly, a veteran, an astronaut, of crossing the line for participating in a video reminding troops that they can refuse to follow illegal orders.
Okay.
Let's see some of what you said, my friend.
Sure.
In this world that exists like that, don't be a Stephen A. Smith. Be an Admiral Halsey.
When D.L. Hughley called out Stephen A. Smith, it wasn't just a normal disagreement. He completely exposed what happens when confidence replaces real logic. Stephen A. came on thinking he'd show off his political smarts, but he ended up in the biggest PR mess of his career that D.L. Hughley didn't gently correct him. He delivered a sharp, precise takedown that shook the internet. It highlighted everything sloppy about Stephen A.'s attempt to seem politically serious. Watching Hughley destroy him in real time left everyone stunned. This wasn't a friendly debate. It was Stephen A.'s political image getting ripped apart in front of millions.
You know better, Senator Kelly. You know better. How dare you do that? You could go to the House. You can put up, draw up paperwork. You can try to start articles of impeachment if you think there's something illegal. I mean, damn, it ain't like y'all haven't done it before. You impeached the man twice. Where'd that get you? Got his behind back in the White House. Had you left him alone since 2020, maybe he wouldn't be back. You don't tell military men and women to ignore an order from the commander-in-chief. You don't do that.
All of this happened because Stephen A. made reckless claims about Senator Mark Kelly, a decorated Navy pilot, implying he was telling troops to defy the president. Even when he had multiple chances to slow down, clarify, or show some humility, he refused. Instead, he doubled down, got louder, more defensive, and proved exactly what D.L. Hughley warned about. Stephen A. thinks shouting equals authority, and that mindset got exposed immediately. On The View, he pushed into political talk so aggressively that he ended up destroying his own credibility. He wasn't just defending a point. He accidentally revealed his biggest insecurity for everyone. Co-host Sunny Hostin gave him an easy out. She reminded Stephen A. that Pete Hegseth, the Secretary of Defense, had said almost the exact same thing as Senator Mark Kelly back in 2016. The military won't follow unlawful orders from their commander-in-chief. Sunny calmly asked if he wanted to rethink his position. Stephen A. shot back immediately. "I'm not changing a thing." He didn't hesitate. Instead of reflecting, he turned up the volume even more, talking about calling his military friends and trying to justify why Mark Kelly, a trained Navy pilot, shouldn't have said something that's already part of military code.
Caffeine's a bitch, you know?
Now let me just remind you that Pete Hegseth said in 2016, "I do think there have to be consequences for abject war crimes. If you're doing something that is just completely unlawful and ruthless, then there is a consequence for that. That's why the military said it won't follow unlawful orders from their commander-in-chief." Okay. Now, given the fact that the secretary himself said that, I'd love to give you the opportunity to perhaps change your position on what you said.
I'm not changing a thing.
Okay.
I didn't stutter when I said it.
You want to stay loud and wrong?
Well, you could call it loud and wrong all you want to. You're entitled to your opinion. I'm entitled to mine.
Okay.
Here's the reality of the situation. First of all, I don't give a damn what Pete Hegseth has to say because I will tell you right now, he was never qualified for the job.
And you are.
When you talk about DEI and eradicating that, excuse me, what was he doing hosting Fox News on the weekend and all of a sudden he's the defense secretary?
Right.
Please, give me a break. I don't care what he has to say. Let me get that out the way. As it pertains to Mark Kelly, what I was talking about is military. What I did was get on the phone with family and friends who have served in the military. And I said, we're not civilians. This is not the court of law. You can be implicated for implying something if you are a former military member or you are a present military member. It wasn't what Mark Kelly said. It's the fact that he was a combat Navy pilot who served in the military who would tell folks, ignore an order when it could get
Ignore
them
an
in
illegal
order.
He did not say
I said
ignore.
illegal. I said illegal. I'm talking about illegal. I understand that.
He said you don't have to follow an unlawful order, and that is in the military code of conduct.
And I'm saying to you, hold on, which I'm aware of.
But it didn't sound like you were aware of that.
He's aware of that. He's aware of that. Yeah.
I disagree with you.
Stephen, can I ask you a question?
I had two governors, by the way, text me to tell me I was wrong, and they agree with you.
You are wrong.
I had two senators that reached out to me and said you weren't wrong at all.
Well, Mikey Sherrill did say that the reason they felt the need to put that out is they were constantly being approached by people in the military saying we're being put in really uncomfortable situations.
But
that to me is a little more relatable when you're a veteran yourself.
But I'm saying let me say this real quick.
You gotta do it real quick, or wait till we come back.
All I'm saying is this. If you're a member of the military, I'm looking at the soldiers as saying, don't get yourself in trouble. Let somebody else do it. Don't you do it because it ain't gonna work for you.
Then came the most revealing moment. Stephen A. said, I don't care what Pete Hegseth has to say. He was never qualified. What was he doing hosting Fox News on weekends? And suddenly he's the defense secretary. The second he said that, the whole argument fell apart. Think about it. A sports commentator built on ESPN and podcasts just tried to disqualify someone else for starting in television. The irony was loud, awkward, and impossible to miss, and people online noticed immediately. This is exactly what D.L. Hughley was pointing out. Being loud doesn't make you right. Noise isn't leadership. Hughley wasn't just attacking the argument. He was calling out the mindset behind it, and that's why it hit so hard. Hughley pointed out that Stephen A. was acting like a broadcaster who thinks he can jump into political commentary overnight. At the same time, Stephen A. questioned Pete Hegseth's qualifications, even though he himself is just a sport personality stepping into politics. That wasn't a cheap shot. It was a precise, sharp critique. Hughley didn't stop there. He also mentioned Admiral Alvin Hughley, a four-star admiral with 37 years of service, who resigned rather than follow an order he believed was unlawful.
There are some guys at Leavenworth who made really bad choices on the battlefield. And I do think there have to be consequences for abject war crimes. If you're doing something that is just completely unlawful and ruthless, then there is a consequence for that. That's why the military said it won't follow unlawful orders from their commander-in-chief. There's a standard, there's an ethos, there's a belief that we are above what so many things that our enemies or others would do.
That's real leadership, backed by experience, not volume or bravado. This wasn't just a takedown. It was a reality check full of facts. Oh, why did Stephen A. get so defensive? It became clear politics isn't his home court. He wants respect in that space, but he hasn't earned it yet. Every time he yells instead of making a sharper argument, he proves exactly what D.L. Hughley warned about. When someone feels unsure, especially in a lane they don't fully understand, the reaction is almost always the same. They get defensive. That's exactly what happened with Stephen A. on live TV. That if someone challenged him on a sports take about LeBron or the Cowboys, he wouldn't lose his cool. He'd laugh, crack a joke, or break it down smoothly, like he's done 1,000 times. Sports is his home turf. But the moment Sonny Hostin pressed him on Mark Kelly, Stephen A. flipped completely. If you think Stephen A. should stay in his lane and stick to sports, drop your thoughts in the comments. And if you want more real breakdowns cutting through media noise, make sure you subscribe because this conversation is far from